Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is your Un-Bougie Foodie, bringing you all things food as always. I am back. I apologize for missing you all. Hope you have missed me. But weather here in Minnesota can be quite interesting. And I found that out last week. I had, of course, some issues with driving. But anyway, I am here this week. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate you all taking the time to listen to the Un-Bougie Foodie. I want to thank all of my listeners right now early on for keeping up with information that's on Facebook, as well as just asking questions about where I'm going and what I'm eating, if you would. But I want to get right into it. Last week, I wanted to talk about I love sushi. So I hope there are others out there like me that like the taste of fresh fish and it being prepared in a very creative way. I had the opportunity to go to a place in St. Paul, downtown St. Paul. It's called Red Lantern Sushi and Noodle Bar. And if you've never been there, please make sure that you get a chance to go out there and visit the establishment. The owner, the staff, definitely the chef. They are awesome bunch of folks. They were very hospitable and accommodating when I came in, and I think it was probably on a Wednesday or Thursday, which is not normally a day that I probably would have a dinner or go out. Normally I try to do it like Friday, maybe Saturday, and then talk about it the following week. Well, last week I should say, it was the Wednesday or Thursday. And it was just a perfect time because even though, the weather was pretty frigid, it gave me an opportunity to really sit and talk with the staff, with the owner, and the food that they were providing, that they prepared was just awesome. If you're not familiar, they are located at 465 Wabasha Street in St. Paul, Minnesota, 55102. Again, that's Red Lantern Sushi and Noodle Bar. That's 465 Wabasha Street. It's quite easy to find. I mean, it's right directly on the corner of Wabasha and, I want to say 5th. But you can't miss it. And it's a great place to, either for a date, if you want to go there as a single individual, which I did, sometimes going out and experiencing different foods, you might have to eat by yourself. But it was really cold, so I wasn't really expecting anyone to actually go with me. But I want to tell you a little bit about the different types of foods that dishes that I had, or I'll say sushi that I had. I really enjoyed their menu. They had, I participated in having one or two specialty rolls. One was a Superman roll. The Superman roll, inside the Superman roll, it's soft shell crab, snow crab, avocado, serrano pepper, so to give it a little bit of bite, a little bit of heat, cucumber, aioli, and then on the outside is wasabi tobiko. And tobiko is just, wasabi tobiko is, the small little spheres. They're not eggs. They're not what people think. Really, it is the wasabi has been turned into these small spherical edible items, if you would. It's just a garnish that's placed on top of, in this case, the Superman roll. There are many other different types of tastes and so forth that Tobiko can have. In this case, it was wasabi, and it was mild, but it was very good. Considering that you also had the serrano, and wasabi itself is a sinus clearing. What do you want to call it? A sinus clearing edible tasty garnish or a condiment. Yeah, let's call it that, a condiment. So we'll call it that. But they have a wide variety of other types of rolls. I went with the Superman roll because I really enjoy soft shell crab, and I was quickly looking over the entire menu when I first got there, and normally what I would get would be a spider roll, because and it is on the menu. It has I was gonna say Superman. It has soft shell crab, sprouts, and cucumber and aioli, garlic. Well, for this, for this Superman, and I just said, I told them, why did I keep calling it Superman? I think probably that's what they mentioned it, and I wrote down too. It's Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man, folks. It's Spider-Man. It's not Superman. It's Spider-Man. There's a big difference between the two, especially if you're Marvel and DC. You can't be getting too confused. Anyway, back to the food. The Spider-Man roll. So, that's probably the reason why it was so similar to the spider roll. Because the Spider-Man had the similar soft shell crab in it as well. So there you have it. The spider roll, which has the soft shell crab, and then the Spider-Man roll, which has, the foremost ingredient of soft shell crab, and then snow crab. So all of those additional items within the roll make it that spider roll, where I'm tongue-tied this morning. Make it the Spider-Man roll. The spider roll has less ingredients, less items within the roll itself. Anyway, continuing on, so I don't get confused again with spider roll and Spider-Man roll. The next item that I had from off of the menu, they refer to it as himachi. Himachi is actually yellowtail fish, and it is served as a nigiri style. Well, at least what was chosen was the nigiri style. I wanted to have some rice along with it rather than just a sashimi by itself, which is just the filleted pieces of fish or whatever meat or item that you are going to have. A lot of times they'll have just almost anything can come in sashimi, but we've seen steak, or I've seen steak. I have not had it, and I've also seen fish, the various types. I chose to have the nigiri, which is a piece of fish or whatever the item is. It could have been shrimp, fish, eel. Yeah, I'll go into that soon. But the nigiri is just that piece of fish on a bed of rice, on a small pillar or bed of rice. And mixed in with, when you have your soy sauce and you've mixed in your wasabi, it just tastes so great when you're able to dip in both the rice and the whatever sushi that you're having. In this case, it was the hamachi, or the yellowtail, that I was having. The next one, similar to that of the yellowtail, I still had nigiri style. It was the salmon, and they refer to that as the shake. Now, both of these, I didn't probably explain how these, it's not just the cut of the fish itself. There was a different area of the fish that they were actually cutting this from. This is they refer to it as the toro, or the fatty belly portion of the fish. So it's flavorful, so much full of flavor. It's not one of the mussels that are around the fins and so forth that you're getting the cut from, but this is an area that, when a fish is, it uses not much of it. It's the under cut of the fish. So it's fatty and really tender, almost a melt in your mouth type of flavor and texture. So those were, again, the toro is what they refer to it. So it was a hamachi toro and shake toro. Again, that's the yellowtail and salmon. Well, there were still some other items. And I mentioned one just a moment ago. I had eel. Don't be afraid by eel, folks. Eel is a very tasty fish, especially if it's prepared broiled with maybe a hint of garlic. And for Red Lantern, I have to give it to them. I'm not sure how they refer to it as unagi butter. So it is nigiri style. The eel is placed on top of the small bed of rice and then wrapped with, some seaweed. And then on top of that is a small thin layer of butter. So not only are you getting the flavorful portion of the actual fish, but that sweetness that comes from the butter, and salty, actually sweet and savory from this butter that's placed on top as it's melting down and just kind of running down off of the eel and into the rice and onto your plate. And you pick it up and put it in maybe a bit of wasabi on it, and take a bite of it. It's a taste that, if you've never had eel or unagi, you really will appreciate it so much more and I never figured that I would like it with butter the way that I did. So that unagi butter, yeah, it's very good. One of the last things that I had while I was there, which, I go into every restaurant just, and I don't want to say anonymously, because I go in like a regular person and I'll order food and whatnot. And I think they were very open and trying to find out, I was the only customer there at the time. It was about an hour before they were about to close. And I was one of the, aside from the staff, I was the only other customer that they were helping or preparing a meal for. And so, the staff, as well as the owner and the chef, were asking me questions about what I do secularly and what I do for fun. And, I let them know that I have a radio show here at WEQY on 104.7 FM. Every Saturday at 10 a.m., they have the opportunity to, hear about a place that I've gone to. And I was really, really excited to actually share their business. One, because of the fact that I love sushi, but two, it's in downtown St. Paul. So we are still talking about St. Paul and other areas. So I wanted to really kind of just let them know that I didn't forget about you. Last week, situations beyond my control, but I'm glad that I'm having the opportunity to talk about Red Lantern and let everyone become familiar with, if they've not already gone or have never really had sushi before. They're really accommodating and will explain every dish, what they're providing you, what they're preparing. Definitely on the menu, of course, you could tell that, but the chef as well as the staff are very helpful. I think after explaining, what I do here on the Un-Bougie Foodie, the chef was very, very nice and prepared a side piece of sushi for me, if you would. And I've not had, what do you want to call it? I've not had foie gras before. And foie gras is the fatty portion of the duck, and is it's a very flavorful piece of meat, and that he was very generous with providing me with a salmon nigiri with foie gras and the duck fat renderings poured over the top. Now, I know I'm talking about this, but to really appreciate what this dish looked like, and it was just one piece, and I really do appreciate them being so generous, and I guess wanting to share just a very special either dish or presentation with me, especially after mentioning that I was going to talk about them on the show, which I would have done anyway. It's not even a matter of that, trying to get free food. But it was kind of like icing on the cake, and like I said, I've never had it before, and so when I ate it, I think the chef and the staff, they were waiting for some type of response from me. I was speechless. It was that good. It really was. I mean, the flavor of having the duck fat renderings just poured over the top of this, this presentation. It wasn't greasy. It was just the right amount of additional savoriness to add to a fresh piece of salmon, and it was just delicious. So again, thank you all so much at staff and owner and chef at Red Lantern. Once again, they are located at 465 Wabasha Street, and that's St. Paul, Minnesota 55102. And I say the city like we don't know what city we live in, but for those that are listening abroad that have downloaded the TuneIn app and are listening throughout various portions of the country, hello family in California, as well as friends in other states, thank you. Just so you know, when you come to St. Paul, I'm giving you these ideas of places to go. And those that live here, if you've not already been, again, likewise, please make sure that you stop in at some of these restaurants and places of business that are offering awesome food selections and choices. Now, I want to talk about, that was Sushi, and we were in St. Paul. Yes, St. Paul. But I had the opportunity, and I've not been to a Thai restaurant in St. Paul until now. This is Eastside Thai. Eastside Thai is located at 879 Payne Avenue. That's St. Paul 55130. And they are, some of these places are not open today, as you know, because thankfully they are offering their staff our opportunity to spend time with their families. So for Eastside Thai, they're going to be closed today and tomorrow, but they will definitely be back open. Normally their hours are from 11 to 7:30 Monday through, I think it's Thursday. Is it Monday through Thursday? Yeah. No, I'm sorry, Monday through Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. and then Thursdays from Thursday through Sunday, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. So again, normally they would be open within the next half hour, but today's, it's time to spend with family and friends, and why have someone really working? I am here. I don't really consider this a job. I consider this something I really enjoy. I mean, I enjoy my job, my secular job too, but this is something that I do as a passion. I do, enjoy photography as well. I think people can have more than one passion. And for myself, I don't want to give things, put things as levels and, categorize them as what's more important, most important or anything. I think people could have, individuals could have number of passions. I, for one, like photography. I enjoy going out and having a great meal, and of course talking about a great meal to anyone, listeners, that are listening to WEQY, or just friends that are asking about suggestions on where to go, what to do, or where's some place that I could take a date, in the evening or on the weekend. I enjoy that. That's part of why I really do this. And everyone here at WEQY, again, they volunteer their time because I'm quite sure it's their passion. I know our station manager has a passion too for one, just being the awesome individual that he is. And that's not really to big him up or anything like that, but he is a mentor, not only on the platform, outside of WEQY and the radio station itself, but in his personal and, if you would, personal and additional passions that he has. This is not a plug. I'm just saying that I'm using, our station manager as an example, but even my producer, he has a passion. They both have a passion for music, being artists, and I appreciate that. So when I have the opportunity to share food and restaurants, either within our area or, anywhere within Minneapolis, St. Paul, or almost any city I'm going to, I get excited about it. It is something that I really, really enjoy talking about. So I steered away from my original topic or subject, but I guess I just wanted to talk a little bit about why I don't go into somewhere and just automatically just say who I am and what I do or whatever. But when you do get me talking about it, I will talk about it. And I still have to learn how to not talk so much about it. So, but Eastside Thai, you could always tell how great some place is going to be based upon the clientele that is there within the restaurant. And I felt really comfortable knowing that there are folks that really enjoy that cuisine, and although it's a small place, it is not uncomfortable by any means. There were enough seating. They do to go or takeout as well. So you could definitely find their menu online at eastsidethai.com and give them an order, if you would, and give them a try. I know that I enjoyed the first thing I always have at, if you would, an Asian restaurant, whether it be Thai, Japanese, whomever, is their spring rolls. There's just something about a spring roll that almost tells me how the rest of my experience at a restaurant is going to be. So I had the spring rolls. I ordered the spring rolls, and you'll be able to find these pictures online. I will definitely make them available, so that if you want to get an idea of the different types of foods and presentations and so forth. I'm all about presentation, although that's not what I go into restaurants and so forth for. But I appreciate when it is presented to me, because it's a special occasion. I'm out at your restaurant. Anyway, with the spring rolls, they were flavorful. They had, of course, it had pork and shrimp and the lettuce and the ingredients that they used. The peanut sauce peanut sauce was a bit different than what I'm used to having. This was more of more liquidy, more liquid base with kind of almost a oil. I'm assuming that there is some type of, and I'm not using it right. Maybe it's sesame oil, possibly, but with hint of peanut oil, and then of course peanuts mixed in to the sauce. And it was, you're able to either dip the spring rolls in. I choose to at times use a spoon and pour it in, spoon by spoon, so that I'm able to get each bite with some type of either peanut sauce. And if I'm getting down to end, then I meant dip it in the bowl. But it was great. The rice paper that they use to wrap the ingredients. I know that I've gone to some places where it seems a bit, I don't know, old or rubbery is is a kind of a wrong terminology to use. Too much elasticity on or for the actual roll, for the spring roll itself. It's like this is not at Eastside Thai at all. That's why I was using them as an upswing. Other places that I've gone to, it's kind of difficult to really bite through, whereas theirs was again the perfect wrapping that was used. It wasn't too thick, it wasn't too overstuffed. The vermicelli that's used on the inside, the noodles, and the other ingredients, the lettuce, the pork and the shrimp. I think it's funny when people say it was a marriage, because I've used it on the show as well. It was a marriage of flavors that came together. But really it was. You just have to go there and know what I'm talking about. And make sure you ask them for the spring roll. The other item that I will have will be an egg roll. And these are perfect size egg rolls too. With the sweet and sour sauce that they offer, perfect. I want to say bite size. You know how some egg rolls can be too big, and you're like, you really want to be able to take a bite at the end and not have things falling out. This was perfect. Freshly cooked and always prepared. So these items are not pre-prepared and then put in a fryer or pulled from out of a refrigerator and then brought to the table. No, these are ones that it's going to take some time for you to get your food, but that's because they're preparing it so well in the kitchen. So definitely hats off to those chefs and the owners, of course, of Eastside Thai, because the food thus far was prepared very well. The next thing that I had on the menu, which I wasn't sure about, because I know I shouldn't be always having pork belly. I think there's some friend was saying how, dude, you like pork belly too much. Yes, I do. And not because I'm trying to be like Anthony Bourdain. There's just something about having a nice piece of meat like that. I mean, it's melting your mouth and just great. I mean, in this case, it's crispy pork belly that I had. It's their Chinese broccoli with crispy pork belly. So it is stir-fried Chinese broccoli with fried pork belly, served with steamed rice. It was delicious. It was tasty. So if you're not used to having pork belly, perhaps this may not be for you because it's crispy, and it almost reminds me a little bit of chicharrones, but not as cooked as that. But yeah, I love the crispiness of especially of the outer portion of the pork belly, and then the more tender piece that you would get, further in the mixture of the rice. It's an experience always to go out and have great food and know that, okay, well, maybe I could have made this at home. No, I like to have other people make it because I want to be able to say, okay, I've had it at a restaurant. Maybe I could now replicate this at home. I don't want to go off and say, oh, I'm going to do this at home. And I think I'm a great cook. I follow recipes really, really well. And come up with some great ideas on my own. But, there are certain things that you probably shouldn't try off when you've not had it before. Have it somewhere and then try to replicate that when you get home. It'll help you out. Trust me. The last thing that I had at Eastside Thai. Now, I learned about this dish. We had a potluck at work. This was months ago. A young lady, she is Asian. She's, I forgot what did she put in it? I know. She used the dark meat of chicken. Some scallions, or if you would, green onions, and also cilantro. But there is this seasoning that is called, it's Laab, Laab. So if you go to your local Asian market and ask them for this, I think the one that I have is in a yellow container with green letters. I know that's wrong to describe it that way, but there are so many others that are out there. But this particular version, I don't know what it is. It has a different flavor, but be prepared. It is quite spicy, not overly much, but it has just the right amount of spice so that when you're having all of those mixtures of the chicken, the onions, the green onions, that is, and the cilantro, chopped up really fine, and then the seasoning over it with maybe some olive oil or sesame oil, actually, over the ingredients, and then mixed it all in. Be prepared to eat the whole thing. When she brought it, I didn't know what it was, so I had to ask, how is it spelled? Where do I get it? Because it was delicious. So there was none left. And I promised myself that I am going to make this at home. And yes, I did make it at home, but because I was out at Eastside Thai, they had it on their menu. And I was like, yes. So, just so that you know what is currently in their version, they have 3 different types. I had the Laab chicken. See, I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but that's because I'm an American, and I pronouncing the way that I'm seeing it. The way that they say it sounds so much better. When I say they, I'm talking about the person that prepared it. Oh gosh. But I'm just going to say that it is Laab chicken salad. Hopefully I'm not embarrassing myself, but hopefully you will know what I'm referring to when I am talking about, these dishes. Because they're just so good. So the way that they prepared theirs was freshly ground chicken, tossed with thinly sliced sweet onions and a light dressing of lime juice, fish sauce, roasted rice powder. Interesting. Green onions, cilantro, and mint. So there, they've added a few more ingredients, if you would, that I was not familiar, or I had not had from the original, or from when the young lady at work prepared it for us. But it was still great. I think for me, I would still have it with the dark pieces of meat, the dark cuts, like from thigh or leg. This was, again, you could tell that this was from the definitely chicken breast. It was still moist. However, I think the dark pieces of meat add a bit more flavor, additional flavor, if you would, to the salad, or to the dish, to the meal. But it was still very good, and it's a healthy meal too. It's gluten-free, because as you can, all of those ingredients are just all, there are no real preservatives or anything that are, for the chicken. Nothing that would actually concern those that might have gluten intolerance. But they have, that as a chicken salad. They have it as a shrimp salad, and also as a beef salad. And pretty much the ingredients in all of those three are all the same, with some variations. Like with the shrimp salad, you have the cilantro, the roasted rice powder, but you have bean sprouts and slices of lemongrass. So normally with shrimp, you want something a bit more citrusy. And I suppose the way that they are preparing it, I have not had that dish there. But, when you have an imaginative mind and you appreciate food, even some of the words, you start to understand, okay, this is going to be good because the bean sprouts, the mint, lemongrass, the green onions, how it's all mixed together. And then when I'm taking a bite of it from the salad, my mouth is watering just thinking about it. So, when you're getting used to either going out or preparing meals at home, having descriptions, help provide a bit of excitement to your meals. I know for me, it's a lot of fun. I know that I have talked about a number of restaurants within East St. Paul, and I know one of them specifically, which I think even our station manager and I've made some recommendations to other friends to definitely visit. What is it? Tongue in Cheek. I'm sorry. I love Tongue in Cheek. I think they probably know how much I love them because I could go there and kind of get recognized. I'll leave it at that. But just the fact that when you go there and they have a brunch menu that starts early, and that's like Monday. It starts from Wednesday on through the weekend. Normally brunch is just possibly Saturday and Sunday, but here, they have a brunch that goes all the way, from Wednesday all the way to Sunday, if you would. But Tongue in Cheek is located at 989 Payne Avenue. So yes, still Eastside. Shout out to all restaurants that are on the east side. That's what we're trying to do here on WEQI, and specifically on the Un-Bougie Foodie, is bring more light to restaurants and businesses, and that are providing you great places to eat. Tongue in Cheek is definitely one of them. Again, they are located at 989 Payne Avenue in St. Paul. they're open today, but I think their hours might be probably limited or scaled back a bit because of the holiday. But be rest assured that you are not going to be disappointed with anything that they have. And let me make a correction, because weekday, they have a weekday brunch Wednesday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. So just so you know, their brunch. They gave me an opportunity to taste. They have a roasted, braised. Was it braised? Oh man, I can't believe that. I can't remember what that dish was. Man, I'm embarrassed about that, because it was great. I was having it with two coworkers as we were going to see a play, but I couldn't pass up the opportunity to have East Fried Pride. East Fried Pride is, yes, I'm going to say the word. It is pork belly, sesame, and peanut, or peanut sauce, if you would. Yeah, told you, I have a fascination with pork belly, it seems. So don't be mad. I may talk about pork belly a little bit much. These are just teasers. We were just quickly trying to grab something to eat before we went over to the show, and the two coworkers, they were like, "What do you suggest?" I'm like, "Well, to start, let's have East Fried Pride, and we'll have the bacon and egg." The bacon and egg is avocado, hot sauce, and bacon powder, and how do I describe this without sounding too overly excited or just extremely mouth-wateringly good? It comes out presented to you on a silver spoon, if you would, and it really is a one bite, or place all of it in your mouth and just let your tongue enjoy the flavors that are just I'm trying to be poetic, dancing across your tongue. No, it's just really great. I mean, both of those two items, from the very first time that I had gone there and experienced those teasers, I'm hooked on them. I should try some others, because the others are very good. The crispy feta, I know some friends I was with, they had that, and I did taste it, but something keeps drawing me back to East Fried Pride, which is again the pork belly and that bacon and egg. I was still trying to remember what that other dish was that I had, which is surprising. Maybe I think it may have been just a special of the night. It was braised short ribs. Braised short ribs with kind of like pickled, sweet onions, and then Brussels sprouts, as you know, my favorite. My favorite. And then with it looks like bacon crumbles or something, if I recall correctly, and cheese on top, and then of course microgreens, and that was placed on a bed of mashed potatoes, just buttery, and the presentation that as it came out was like, dang, that's all mine. No one else is having it but me, at least at my table. So yeah, I gotta say, I gotta love tongue in cheek. So I gotta give them props for that. God, gosh, there are so many other places that I want to talk about. I can't recall if I had talked about Pinku. Pinku is it's Japanese street food, and they are located at 20 University Avenue in Minneapolis. So, like I said, I do concentrate or focus attention on east side of St. Paul. But again, I always say the neighborhood, the communities that are surrounding St. Paul. So it extends out to Minneapolis and to many other places. Trust me, you'll see me or hear me talk about different restaurants in different parts of the city. But again, all bringing it back to, east side of St. Paul and bringing the food to you as an audience, as faithful and loyal listeners. Thank you again. So that you at least will have an opportunity to find out, hey, there's something new and exciting that's in the area that I can go to. And, or if I want to travel someplace, still within the city limits and so forth. Yes. You have that opportunity to do that. I am going to say, so, Pinku, I think I may have talked about them. It was just that good. Like I said, they are a Japanese street food establishment, and they are getting some really great recognition because, among some other fine restaurants that are up and coming or that are brand new for 2016, Pinku seems to be on that list quite often, and for a variety of different categories. Best new, quickest, food, or restaurant to get something on the go. Different magazines have had or articles have been written about them because they're so innovative, and I remember that one article said, don't call it sushi, because really it's Japanese street food, prepared very, very simply, with the idea that someone is just coming in, or maybe a group of friends are coming in just to get something, a quick bite to eat before they head out, maybe to an adult establishment such as a bar, or maybe to a play or something. But I had their crispy shrimp, which was kind of funny because, like I said, I think I mentioned before in a prior show, the young lady that was standing in front of me. Didn't even say anything, and she jumped in front of me and said, "You need to have the crispy shrimp." I'm like, I was going to, but needless to say, the crispy shrimp, seared salmon with rice, crispy hot stickers, the spicy tuna frat roll, all items that are under $10, and you could walk away still feeling full, with knowing that, hey, I've had really great food. It didn't cost a whole lot. It was inexpensive, and it was fast. So that's the other thing I am going to tell you all about, which I mentioned at one point before. There is a Mexican restaurant that is now open, because weeks ago I think I mentioned that it was going to be, and so many of my friends are saying, oh, what about that place that's going to be there was a German restaurant or something like that, and now something else is going to be there. Glockenspiel. Well, now it is a Mexican bistro, and that is Pajarito. And that's Pajarito. They are located at 605 7th Street West. That's in St. Paul. 55102. And they're open today. And I have not eaten there, but it is getting rave reviews, and I feel that I need to go there today after I leave the radio station. And I would love to do just kind of like a live broadcast and have you all with me, if you would, because I am really looking forward to having the different types of dishes that they have. It's so been talked about so often in Minneapolis St. Paul Magazine, in City Pages. There are even some chefs and so forth that have already gone there and experienced the different types of dishes that are going to be available. They have the different type of tacos. I'm looking at their menu at the moment. The different salsas that they offer. Tacos, so the standards that you're used to, hearing more than anything: carnitas, el pastor, barbacoa, smelt. Now, see, that's gonna be interesting. Tinga, chicken tinga. So that's chipotle, tomato, cilantro, and queso. I love tinga. I mean, yeah, I've had it at so many other places, and it just reminds the spice and so forth that's used for. It was chicken tinga, of course, that I had, but anyway, I digress. I'm excited to go there. It's been again talked about over and over, and they have a happy hour, and I'm assuming that it is Monday through Friday. That is 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Darn, why do they always have to have the happy hour when I'm still at work? I can't leave work, people. I need to be there. I want to be there. Yeah. I'm truly excited to go to Pajarito today. I am going to treat myself, and I will be talking about it next week. So please, as always, as I come to the end of the show, I want to thank you all so much for listening. I am Wesley Wright, your Un-Bougie Foodie. Please, once again, as always, as I always say at the end of every show, don't let anyone tell you what type of foodie to be, because really it is all about the food. Peace, blessings, and enjoy your holiday.